You see me there yet? Okay. Oh, thanks. Good morning, Kim Luce. You're a beautiful sight too. Good morning, Vicky. Great to see you. I hope you're feeling better. Hope things are well. How is the sound this morning? Is that everybody? Can you hear me? Okay. We just changed little techie things around a little bit, and I want to just make sure we're sounding okay. Morning, John. Hey, I was just packing fun, having so much fun packing tears. I almost missed it. Oh, I'm glad you made it. Yep. I don't think I've ever been able to say that, but I'm glad. I'm glad you can. Hey, Jamie. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Great to see you. Excellent. Very good. Very good. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. All right, everybody. Good to see you. Good to see you. Sounds great, and you're feeling better. Oh, that's good news, Vicky. Good. Glad you're well. So, all right, it is. We'll give it one more minute. I see a few more people coming by. So great to be back. So great to be back. Uh, Vacation was great, and I got to see you all Thursday. But it is so nice to be in this rhythm again. I will say I do have. Uh, I will be away. Not this week. We're on task, but next week I'll be away for a few days as well with our 11:11. But then we'll stick it out for a little while longer. I've been praying and thinking about what our journeys and life here together, and this has all become entirely too precious to me, and I hope precious to you, and I think good for the church, not just First Congregational Church Fall River, but the wider church of our being, the church that you and I are in this moment. It has all our gathering has become entirely too precious for us to let it go in these days, and there is still. I was talking this morning in our staff meeting that in a few days the pilgrims will have left England, and on the 6th, I think, of September or 7th of September they leave England 400 years ago, and that. I feel like we are mirroring 400 years ago their journeys in some ways, is that they cast themselves at sea, and they're in this place between. And I feel like we're still kind of in this place between. We haven't quite made Plymouth Bay yet. We haven't found solid ground yet, but we are certainly on the way, and we are closer and every day is a day closer to that place. So we don't worry. I just want part of this is to reassure you that we'll continue to check in on our journeying and this journey. Hey, Robin, so good to see you. Irene, good morning to you. Saw that lovely picture of your garden this morning. It looks beautiful. Donna, hello. Good to see you. So glad everybody is here. It is 11:11 on the first day of September. Friends, it's the first day of September. Isn't it like don't you think it's like you know, like 87th day of March or something like that? I mean, doesn't it have this kind of unending weird feeling that has been going on, and so but it is the first day of September. It is actually, there has been some coolness these past few nights. We haven't had to have the AC on. Been able to have the hatches open and to sleep with with kind of peering up at the sky, which is always a gift. And so it has been. So we are on this journey to into September. So Jamie, are you on the other roomies, like, to share with the group that we had? Oh yes, yeah. We had. It was great. We had Jamie and I had breakfast the other day, or lunch the other day, whatever you want to call it. It was, and Casey was there, who we had prayed for in these days, in his time with the Massachusetts National Guard, caring for veterans in the Holyoke Veterans Home. He is released from that duty, and he's headed back to school. So we thank him for his service. It was great to spend spend a little time with them and the journey. So thank you for reminding me of that. That is terrific. So that, because friends, here's the thing, as I was just saying, we're the church. This is the church, the gathered community. We in the congregational way, a lot of people define the church and whatever, the followers of Peter, the Peter and the rod, whatever. But for us in the congregational way, where 2 or 3 are gathered, there am I also. That's our founding statement. And so you're here. You're with me. Like, you're not right next to me, but you're with me. Like, I feel you. I feel you on my heart. I know that you're there. I see your little digital faces staring at me. I know that you're in this. And wherever you may be, whatever, if you're just down the street, or you're 1,000 miles away, or you are in the or you're getting ready for feasting on cherries, whatever it is that you're a part of, that you are a part of the church right here and right now. And so it's so nice Robin's here this morning, because what I want to talk about is I want to talk about Uncle Walter. So Uncle Walter is a guy by the name of Walter Brueggemann, he is a theologian, professor of theology at Columbia, and he retired some years ago to just up the street from where Robin Cardin's church is. And Robin got to go have lunch with him some time ago, so we are all unfit now to be in her presence. We were pretty unfit to be in her presence before, but having sat with Uncle Walter, and so I want to actually, I've never done this, but I want to actually where we might kind of extend our conversation over a few days. I've tried to make it every day kind of organic, but this is so good. This is so good. I want to actually spend the next 3 days talking about what we're going to talk about, because it's just so rich to me, and I don't want it to go by the wayside. And I think each piece of this deserves its own little treatment and its own little moment. And I think it is so spot on for the first week of September, for the first day of September, where we find ourselves headed into this new season. Tonight is a full moon. We are encountering new seasons all over the place. That I think this season for the church, when I say the church, I'm not talking about the big building. Big buildings are great. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about for you and I, for us, the gathered people. What it is that we're about is that we are about this prophetic time. We have a prophetic task in the state. Now, what does that mean? To be prophetic is to be one who says something that you don't necessarily want to hear. That people don't necessarily want to hear. That is likely going against prevailing culture. That throughout there were these guys that most of the books, I don't know if it's most, but many of the books of Bible are named after a prophet of some sort. Somebody who had something to say, anointed by God, sent there by God, called by God to say something to the world that likely the world didn't want to hear. Or likely that was, and even if it did want to hear it, it was countercultural to the ethos of the day, to the culture of the day. And Uncle Walter has done a lot of great things in his ministry of academia, but I would say the greatest things is him talking about what it means to be a prophet and what it means for the church, not some big place, not some random thing. Church, you and I, our little gathered group of community, what it means for us in these days to be that. This he wrote some years ago, what I'm going to show you in a second, what I'm going to read to you, that he wrote it some years ago, but it has become, I think, in COVID time, more appropriate. And even that coming out of COVID time, which is where we really are. If you look at the numbers all over, I'm not, looking at the kind of things popping up here and there that may be a likelihood, but this thing's going to end, folks. It's going to end. If this thing is going to go on, it's not going to be this rambling feast that we're going to live with for the rest of our life. That's not how these things work. That's not how they've ever worked historically. Even if they go on for a year or two, they always, 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 always end. Always. So it's going to end. There's no case in history where it hasn't. It's going to end. We know this. As we are moving towards that, as we are in this place of this, this pilgrim place of having left our port and then at sea and not quite found the new port yet. We're still looking for Plymouth Bay. I think what our culture needs from us and what our friends need from us that may not be a part of this journey is this idea of being prophetic, of saying the truths that need to be said. And we've touched on these through our journey here, but I want to talk about them over the next 3 days. So the first one, I know I'm setting it all up. But here we are. So this is his quote. See, this is Uncle Walter right here on the corner. Hello, Uncle Walter. If he looks a little like an Old Testament prophet anyway, and he kind of sounds like one. If you look him up on the interwebs, you can hear him speak, and he does kind of sound a little like an Old Testament prophet. And he says this of us. He says, the prophetic tasks of the church are to tell the truth in a society that lives in illusion, grieve in a society that practices denial, and express hope in a society that lives in despair. And so today I want to talk about what it is to tell the truth in a society that lives in illusion. Tomorrow we'll talk about the grieving piece. We've talked about that before, and then we'll talk about the hope piece on Thursday, and that we've talked about that before. But that I think this framework of what we're being called to, you and me, friends, not like he talks about the church a lot. Well, we're it. All the people on this little live stream, all the people that's gonna tune, that's gonna find their way to this over the course of the day, all the people they're gonna gather at FCC on Sunday morning, whether they gather digitally or or those of you who are gonna gather in your own churches, all of it. We're the church. We're it. And we have a prophetic task in this time because we are being encountered with illusion, we are being encountered with grief, and we are being encountered with despair that the wider culture does not have an answer for. And so these are our tasks. So I want us to talk about the first one, to tell the truth in a society that lives in illusion. To tell the truth in a society that lives in illusion. I know I've already set this up a long ways, but if you've heard me speak at all ever, you've heard at one point or another you come across this notion. I am often talking about the notion of logos these days. Now logos in Bible has often been translated as a word. It's the beginning. It's most famously in the beginning of John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. We think of it that way as the Word. Horrible, awful translation. Not inaccurate. I mean, the word, Bible, the incarnation of divinity in time and space. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. But I think a better way to understand the logos is and you've heard me say this before, but I think it bears repeating right now, is to talk about the really real. The really real. When in the beginning was the really real, and the really real was with God, and the really real was God. The things that are eternal, the things that are actually real beyond our imaginations and beyond our desires, beyond our living, beyond all of the fantastic illusional things out there. That there are so many phantasms right now that are ready to grab our attention and doesn't matter what sphere you look in. Doesn't matter what sphere you look in. And that trying to figure out the really real amidst them is almost a lost cause. It's almost a lost cause. Because the really real is that which undergirds all of them. I'll give you an example. Just if you think about our political sphere, and I don't care where you are politically. I don't care if if you've got a Trump or a never Trump sign. I don't care if you've got a Biden and Kamala sign. I don't care. I don't care what you think about our sitting president. I don't care what you think about the next president. I don't care. Okay, let me just, if I can't say that any clearer, because that's not the point. Because all of that conversation is a conversation of illusion and phantasm. If you think you are getting a real idea of what is behind, these people, what is behind their motivations, all this sort of stuff, you might get indications of it. You might get to all this sort of stuff. But is that? And I want you to think of it this way: is that in the course of your day? And I mean really on the physical, tangible, incarnated parts of your day, are those the things that are influencing you, that are influencing you, or that are working to you, or are the really real things the fact that you open your eyes and you see another creature? Maybe it's a fuzzy creature, maybe it's a creature that you're married to, maybe it's a creature that you spend space with, maybe you look out your window and there's nature, maybe you turn on your computer and there's another human being you connect with. The really real are those eternal things that are beyond time and space. The really real are the connections we have with one another. Friends, this connection that you and I have, this journeying that you and I have, and I can look at everybody on this thread at some point or another, and I can hearken us to moments that often many of us have either shared together or spent time together. That these relationships, in the beginning, was the really real. And the really real was with God. And the really real was God. When somebody's rioting in the streets over justice, whatever that means, wherever violence is being done over justice, whatever that means. But I would submit to you, these are falling to a society that lives in illusion. That somehow you have slighted me, I have slighted you. Go on Facebook and just say what you really think someday and just see what happens. See what level of vitriol you find. And that's the thing. Like Biden, Trump, political spectrums, whatever, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you put out there. Once you engage in the illusion, friends, you're off to the races. Somebody else is going to engage in the illusion with you. And you're going to be talking about these things rather than talking about the love of our shared humanity, the beauty that unites each one of us, the love that we share with the people that we care about and the people that we love. Every one of your names that are on this, I love and I care about you. And again, I don't care. It is to me, it is this nature of kingship. We talk about Christ as the King of Kings. There are all of these other principalities, and the illusion of these principalities out there, whether they're political ones, whatever level they stand at, the illusion of these principalities is that they are the ultimate in principality. They're the biggest power. That the United States, the environmental crisis, the ideas of right and justice or wrong and justice, all of that those are the ultimate of powers. And what we who gather, 2 or 3 of us made in God's image, gather in the name of Jesus, say no. All of those principalities, all of those phantasms and illusions of control, illusions of the way things should be, illusions of the way things aren't, or the way things they're going to, all of them, every one of them are subject to the reign of the King of Kings, Jesus the Christ. And that dispels all of the illusions. That's the great dispeller of phantasms that would haunt us Oh my God, what are we going to do about the next wave of Corona? Oh my God, what are we going to do about the political situation? Oh my God, what are we going to do about about this thing, about that thing? What are we going to do about going back to school? And what are we going to do about? And I'm not saying there aren't things to worry about. I'm not saying there aren't things to, but these are phantasms of the future. Live your life right here and right now. When you open your eyes in the morning, and those things that are non-negotiable to you. Back in the day when people would leave a burning house, isn't as much true today, but it is still largely true. That if somebody's house was on fire, almost over 90% of people, when they were asked what would the one thing you would grab from your burning house, assuming all of the living people and living creatures have been rescued from it, if you have one inanimate object to grab as you go out your house, what is the thing that you would grab? And what do people grab? Photo albums. They grab a photo album. Those are the most precious things. Why is that the most precious? Now, today, a lot of that stuff's in the cloud and da-da-da-da-da, whatever. But what it says is, what is really real is the relationships and the stories and the things that bind us together, are the graduations and the loves that we share, or maybe we didn't share this year, the joys and the moments that we highlight with the worthy of a picture, the beautiful sunset that we post on our page, or the beauty of the flower in a garden. Those are those things that we capture and hold dear. Friends, those are the really real. Those is what it is to tell the truth in a society of illusion. So my invitation to you today is simply tell the truth. If you're doing something, if you're part of something that just doesn't make sense, and even if it does make sense, it's like, what am I feeding? What am I serving? What truth is being held up in this? And if you're not finding, if that is somehow elusive, if that is not pointing you to something that would endure in an eternal way, cut it loose. Tell the truth to the world out there. If you're doing something you think is silly, stop doing it. Because the wider culture calls you to do it. If you're a part of something that you think is silly, stop being a part of something you think is silly. And give yourselves to those things that tell the truth. That not Biden, not Trump, not Democrat, not Republican, not environment, not storm, not all of these things that we're contending with in our outside world are as true as the one who made us, as the one who loves us, and as the one who reigns over all things in love and covenant with you and I. That, friends, is to tell the truth of your story, to tell the truth of your life, and to tell the truth that dispels illusion. All right, friends, that's my thought for you today. Yes, so I'm just looking over here. Oh, Amy, my escape has been the kayak in open water. Yes, they're really real. There's wet on your face. There's your muscles get tense. You propel yourself through the water. The really real, the things that to be in relationship to the natural world. They're really real. Yes, I love it. Donna, I missed the banquet. Oh yeah, well, I missed all the festivities this year too. And but what I'm excited about, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Those things that we're grieving in these days. So, all right, friends. That's our thought. That's my thought for this day on this first day of September. And so I encourage you to tell the truth. Tell the truth of your life. To have the church tell the truth. You as the church to be about your prophetic task. The prophetic tasks of the church are to tell the truth in a society that lives in illusion. To grieve in a society that practices denial. And express the hope in a society that lives in despair. So tomorrow we're going to talk about what it is to grieve in a society that practices denial. And that one will get you in trouble. All right. Love to you all. I'm so thankful each one of you are here, and we will pick it up on this Wednesday, the 2nd tomorrow. All right, thank you. Peace and grace all.